Let's
in
talk about buttered
1987.
sausage. Talk about buttered sausage, where it comes from, what it does, why is it doing what it's doing. Get it out of my face. Buttered sausage. It's not my jam. I don't buy jam. I buy honey, and I kiss it on the lips.
Hello, folks, and welcome back to the show. No cleverly edited intro by me this week because we're leaving it to the gentleman you just saw. Incredible video that's been doing the rounds, a kind of meme, and it is, of course, the well-known actor Gary Busey, but not really him. It's an incredible impersonator called Jeff Richards, and this was his impersonation with the aid of the AI face of the batshit crazy ramblings of supposedly Gary Busey. And I just found this so funny and hilarious. And I'm going to do a video about buttered sausage fragrances. What on earth does that... Well, I'm going to do batshit crazy fragrances because that whole video, that meme that's been going around is just him being batshit crazy. And I think it's so funny. So we're going to do crazy fragrances. Spurious link to the video, but I wanted to do something themed about this because I was so amused by the channel. And I'm putting the link to that video. Please go and subscribe to the Jeff Richards channel. I don't know anything about this guy. I think he's been on TV and stuff, but his channel doesn't seem to have many followers. It surely will explode. The video, there's like a 40-minute interview. Don't think it's just about the buttered sausage thing. We're going to intersperse other clips, actually, in between the fragrances. It's some of the best viewing of my life. I would far rather sit down and watch this than Oppenheimer or Barbie or whatever they tell us to watch. And there's also a phenomenal one where he's doing his take on Jordan Peterson.
I wouldn't eat an ant. I wouldn't eat a snake. I wouldn't eat a snake if it was alive. These are the things that people forget about. I mean, this is the narrative that people usually fall down with. They have this divine, this divine prowess over things like a monkey. Would you eat a monkey? Well, I'd eat one arm. But I don't eat a lot.
And the political guru type guy, psychotherapist, whatever he is, a psychoanalyst. I don't know. What is Jordan Peterson? Anyway, interesting character. Fantastic. So funny. I nearly died laughing at both of them. Let's get into it then. And so we're batshit crazy fragrances. Let's start with Salvador Dali, Pour Homme. And so these are nice fragrances that you might get something out of. And I'm just doing a spurious link to the video that I'm talking about there. Okay. Why is this a crazy fragrance? 1987 release, perfumer Thierry Vasseur. Well, because Salvador Dali himself was shit crazy. The guy was an absolute loony. His paintings kind of reflect his maniacal sexual fantasies and stuff that was going on in his mind, and paranoia and insecurities and just extreme eccentricity, bordering on the clinically insane, although high functioning, because of course he was a hugely successful and massively talented artist. So definitely one of the batshit crazy figures of the 20th century. I think he died in 1989, and they managed to bring out a great fragrance brand. There's a whole line of his fragrances, and this one is maybe one of my favorites. 1987 release. It's an amber fougere, according to Fragrantica. Thierry Vasseur is the perfumer, now famous for his work at Guerlain. Huge note listing. So you've got anise, clary sage, lavender, tarragon, basil, bergamot, tangerine, lemon, geranium, jasmine, heliotrope, lily of the valley, patchouli, oak moss, sandalwood, vetiver, amber seed, and vanilla. And it's a really, really interesting, rich kind of fougere fragrance with a leathery and semi-animalic undertone. It's a little bit challenging. It's a little bit of a dark gothic take on a fougere, as the fantastic Dali themed bottle there, because he did famous pictures involving big lips and stuff. And anyhow, it is an amazing, interesting, and very, very unique smelling fragrance. I really like having it in the collection. I used to be able to find this cheaply online. I'm not sure if it's getting harder to find. It used to be a cheapie, but it may even be discontinued, or it seems to be harder to pick it up when I've looked. Let me know down there in the comments. It's amazing, though. Check it out.
You must understand that you go to Chinatown, you get nunchucks. Well, now you can't get nunchucks. Before you get nunchucks, and they hit yourself on the hand, you go numb fucks, because it hurt, but you didn't want to say ow or anything like that. You just said, so this is the divine intervention. You could become a spiritual guru on your own, but you just have to tie your shoes.
Okay, next on to another batshit concept then, batshit crazy. Zoologist, the whole Zoologist fragrance brand, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but if someone came along and said, we're going to do a brand based around each fragrance being named after animals, some of them, not the most, okay, if you do tiger, that sounds great for fragrance. I don't know if they've done that, but they were doing things like bat, rhinoceros, I'm going to get all the wrong name. There's one called Dodo, Nightingale, I'm going to talk about in a second. It just seems like such a bad idea, okay? Macau monkey and stuff. They were kind of novelty fragrances when they came out, very artistic, but some of them people were like, well, no, I like this fascinating smell, but I can't. Panda was one. It smelled, bananas and panda's cage and stuff. Bats cave smell. You would think, okay, commercial suicide. Okay, stupid idea, fun, yeah, great, but you're not going to make any money. Well, the brand is hugely successful, and I think their fragrance is a little bit increasingly now easier to wear. I've got one here called Dodo. I think they may have reformulated this. This is a very, very intriguing green fougere fragrance, and one that I actually wanted to give you as my kind of top recommendation of a really wearable chypre from the brand. I just have a travel spray, and that's Nightingale, 2016 release, and it was Tomo Inaba, the Japanese perfumer, I believe. And so, yeah, crazy concept, sounds like commercial suicide, actually, and the man behind the brand, of course, is the famous Victor Wong, the impresario behind the brand, and he gets different perfumers in for all the fragrances. Nightingale, absolutely beautiful chypre fragrance, saffron, bergamot, lemon, plum blossom, red rose, violet, oak moss, ambergris, oud, white musk, sorry guys, patchouli, labdanum, olibanum, and that's it. So it is really, really interesting. It has this kind of richness, sort of links with things like Itsuko from Galan, that classic chypre, but a little bit more exotic and rich. Beautiful, complex combination with the rose and the plum blossom notes, giving it this kind of fruity aura, but it's not overly artistic and out there. It is really wearable, I think. Might be something many people would view as a feminine scent. I think a man can easily wear that. So crazy concept, complete success in the execution. Well done to Victor Wong and the guys at that brand.
You can have a Diet Coke or a Coca-Cola. That's what Mahatma Gandhi said. He said you could have Diet Coke, but why?
Next up, this one's batshit crazy, but not as crazy as Gary Busey. And it's Patou Pour Homme. What's crazy about this? It's a 1980 release, and it is an amazing fougere, but the prices have just gone ridiculously high. I've just got an aftershave spray here, so you know, most people want the eau de toilette. I've just got the aftershave. It's like £250 online, and I was lucky to find one that cheap. So the craziness of this is the inflated prices on some hyped, discontinued fragrances. This really happens as a thing in our world, our fragrance world. I don't think you should necessarily get dragged into that too much. It is a very good fragrance. It's a classic aromatic fougere with your classic lavender and tonka and green accords, and it smells masculine, it smells old school. It's very dapper, it's very nice. I really do like it. However, for much lower prices, you can find Paco Rabanne Pour Homme from the 1974 release, but you can find this is a mid-80s vintage of that. And I think this is just as good, and because it was made in much larger numbers and for many more years, you can still pick these up in their vintage formula, which you can tell by the bottle. And I think they're on a par, okay? So it is crazy sometimes. Watch out, don't go too nuts on prices for vintage things like Yves Saint Laurent's Rive Gauche, also really good. But £200-300 for a bottle of this barbershop scent, they're a little bit nuts, but not as nuts as Gary Busey.
All the time, look at the purple, the color purple. A child's marker, it's so purple. That hasn't always been the case. 10 years ago, these markers weren't so purple, but now they're purple. Now they're really, really fucking purple.
Okay, next up, guys, and this is going to be the final one, isn't it? No, two more I've got, sorry. Chypre Fulminare. What's crazy about this is that someone like me has his own fragrance brand, Norton and Wilson. I'm Norton, Mr. Wilson is the other half of it. And we've been lucky enough, I'm surprised we were able to do this as easily as we did in a way. We got an amazing perfumer, John Stephen, a historic perfumer. He's made for Check and Speak and loads of other brands, Bodicea the Victorious, amazing history in the industry. And he created 4 perfumes for us. I'm going to highlight my favourite at the moment, maybe a great one for autumn time. Chypre Fulminare, £95 we sell this for, which is that's actually crazy too, or $120 in the USA, including shipping. Stunning Chypre with real manly powerhouse undertones: ylang ylang, lime, lemon, orange, incense, pepper, leather, vetiver, oak moss, labdanum, ambergris, and castoreum. It is a stunning, stunning composition. Of course, it's my brand, so I'm biased, but there you go. I do think it is amazing, and it is crazy that we are selling this so cheaply, because this is not some. Some people are a bit, oh, well, it's a YouTuber fragrance. It's not really, because it just happens to be me that started the brand, but we don't view ourselves as a YouTuber brand, okay? And there's nothing wrong with other people who have YouTuber brands. We are a legitimate, we like to think, new English niche brand with an amazing perfumer making 4 stunning compositions. Check out the link in the description below if you'd like to check that one out. I do highly recommend it. But of course, I am biased.
Well, if you take 5 and you add 5 and you add 10 and you add 10 and you got 20, you got infinite kindness, you got infinite gratuity. And through that, you can find something that's a perpetual inside of you. Like you're drinking that coffee, there's something spiritual about that.
Last but not least, it's batshit crazy that I like Montal Mucalat. It's everything I don't normally like. It smells of strawberries and vanilla. The note listing includes big strawberries, small strawberries, no way, big strawberries, yes, and not much else. It kind of smells like a child's candies, if you know, bag of candies, or those old scented erasers that kids used to have that smelled like sweeties at school. It basically smells like that, and I like my old school, masculine, classy, sophisticated sense. This is anything but, and yet sometimes it's just what I fancy, a guilty pleasure. And that's kind of weird and crazy that I'm such a big fan of Mucalat. What do you think about it? I think the bottle designs are crazy for these too. Guys, what did you think about that video? Did it suck? Will anyone watch it? Who knows? Let's find out. I will see you in the next video. If you like the fact that my videos do bring you something different in the fragrance community, please consider subscribing, or even if you don't like the videos, subscribe anyway. Maybe the next one will be better. It could hardly be worse. Don't forget, guys, whatever you're doing in life, let's project. And although sometimes life really can stink, at least we can always smell good. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.